Wolfenstein.
Welcome to 0 Hit Points for the week of September 16th. You're making it sound like a news flash. Not that kind of news flash. I'm Ryan Miller, and it's that kind of news flash. Matt Amberg.
News from around the world.
Oh, that's a good type of flash, too. You went cleaner than me for the first time in maybe the history of this podcast.
Yeah, well, sometimes that's the way you got to make the gags.
It's also not true. It's not true. I misrepresent myself.
That's true. That is true.
Okay, all right. On 0 Hit Points, where we talk about video games, believe it or not. This week, we actually will. I guess last week we did too, but
just one though. Nothing else.
There's a chance the majority of the discussion will be taken up with the huge release, the final advent of Borderlands 3. I hope we're talking about the same game now, right?
Sounds right.
Okay. You were going to say something different. I don't know what game you would have said though, so.
The Witcher 3.
Okay. Did you play more of that, actually?
No, I did not.
Okay, so you wouldn't have said that.
I wouldn't say anything. I would never lie on this show.
Borderlands 3 is out. Long live Borderlands 3, because that's about how long it'll take you to play it seems like.
Could be.
We've got to offer up opinions on this thing. I understand how this works.
Okay.
Clarifying
for me.
Can I start at the beginning of my week? I notice how I didn't wait for you to say yes or no.
I thought you had more to the question. So
every now and then at this job, which I've been contract before I was there full time now, I have to work weekends. This happens. I've surely mentioned it in passing here and there.
Yeah, it's awful.
This was one of those weeks, but usually what I do, especially now that I'm on payroll, is I remember to offset my week so I don't work 6 days in the week.
Sure.
Didn't do that this time. And it's more than that actually, because I end up working like a 12-hour day on Friday and a 10-hour day on Saturday is usually what it is. So
okay. Capitalism.
A lot of people work over 40 hours a week. You are probably one of those.
Yes, generally.
See? Okay. Point proven.
I'm there. It's proven to me.
I'm not one of those people. My place of employment, I mean, okay, I understand that sometimes you gots to, especially if you're dedicated to the place you work at and you're,
Which nobody should be. Don't have loyalty to any corporation ever. They don't care about you.
So I get that, but I also get I'm not going to do it unless it's absolutely necessary. I'm not that crazy. So I forgot to take Monday and part of Tuesday off. So basically I just worked a full week until I got to Friday and was like, oh crap, I worked this weekend. So I worked all of that time, and it only worked out in the sense that you were only able to play Borderlands 3 on Sunday anyway.
True.
So we didn't miss out on any game time, but what happened is when it got time to play, I was plowed, man. Like I was just, I don't know if you noticed because I still, we were having fun, but I in my head, I'm just a hunk on the other end of a headset for you that's awfully quiet for some reason or another.
You are incredibly good looking, and I do think of you that way, like just a tank top, just flexing after some push-ups. You're just like, yeah, I got my pump on.
I should have said chunk instead of
feeling
hunk.
real. You're looking real jacked today, baby. Real jacked.
At best, I'm a hunk of burning love.
Well, and that could be true too. Either way, it's good. It's a good look on you. I mean,
irregardless of look.
Either
regardless. Gosh dang, disregardless.
Disregardless. It's disregardless.
And I haven't recovered, obviously, still to this day.
It was kind of funny because I know why I didn't really think about that, because I was also just gone. I was so tired. Like I was super excited to get to play the game, and I had a lot of, we had a good time, but I was also like, when you said I got to take a break, there was a moment of like, whew.
Who's gonna blink first?
That's right. I wasn't. I was like, I will keep going. I'm gonna power through as much as I can, because that's what you usually do. So I'm like, all right, let's see if we can get to 8 o'clock. If I can get to 8 o'clock tonight, that'll make Beth mad, but it'll work out great for me.
Which we didn't. We got done at
about 6 my time.
Was it? So okay, that makes sense. 5 my time.
Yeah, right around there.
But so we had a good 4-hour session.
Oh yeah, for sure. Which, by the way, did not seem like that was. Which is
No, it still went quick.
By the way, that does make for dangerous bedfellows, honks, because that's kind of what Borderlands 2 was for both of us. Where I remember we'd play and be like, "Oh, dude, it's 3 a.m. We started playing at 2 p.m. What happened?" And we've got nowhere.
You didn't have the job then that you have now, so I still don't think that. Oh, I guess on the weekends.
We did some pretty late night, like especially on the weekends.
I know, but you didn't. Did you have to go to work at like 6 a.m. the next day?
No, because I still got up fairly early, but I was getting up closer to 7 or 8 instead of 5. So yeah.
So yeah. Not that we won't have those days still, I'm sure. And yes,
Likely.
It was quick. I guess why I mention all this is just that I almost don't feel... I mean, I'm going to offer up some opinions, but they're fake opinions. Let's put it that way. They are colored by everything I've mentioned so far. Should not be taken seriously. Again, I'm not really saying anything different from the norm here. But at this point, based on my experience, based on where I was coming from, it wasn't a great session for me other than we had the normal amounts of fun and it went quickly.
Yeah.
I was kind of, I just don't trust myself to offer an actual opinion on this thing because I was so tired and everything everywhere seemed rote at the end of the week like that. Like
sure.
And not that it isn't more Borderlands. I think the reviews that kind of are trickling, I guess they're all out now, that say that this is mostly more Borderlands than anything else, and we had lots of long conversations on this show about the evolution of that game, what's it going to be, especially in the world where games like Rage 2 came and went, so whatever that discussion was.
Just such a weird one, too.
But similar games like that were kind of, it seemed, going after Borderlands lunch. So it's more Borderlands. I do agree with that so far. I think we're safe in saying that. But my disinterest in it, I feel like I don't even want to give it credence yet because... I think it is more than that, and I think it certainly can be, and we're going to play so much more of it that I feel like I'll wait. Sure. Because as it stands, after that, I could have been more into it, I guess is what I'm saying.
Sure.
We kind of talked about different play styles than maybe we had for Borderlands 2. I'm kind of blowing through the story and the writing a little bit more. I'm paying attention to some of it, and again, I attribute this to me than anything else. But also... the gun juggling, I just couldn't get invested in. Like to some extent, I was like, okay, this one's better than that. But I'm so much more of a surface level than I was with Borderlands 2. Like I haven't even looked at a white rarity gun. I've deleted all of those immediately. I mark them as trash. They go, I don't care. These, I don't know if the other Borderlands had this, but this has gun scores now, which regardless of stats, each gun has a number. So you can just straight up look at that number and see if one gun is better than the other. I'm kind of doing that for the most part. If I get a blue that's a higher number than another blue I have, that's it. I toss the other one. Sure. I'm not keeping more than one gun per thing. And we're not running into probably these special types of guns that make the game and, get their own blog entries at some point. We haven't run into any of those yet. So right.
We haven't gotten far enough to get like any of the we've gotten some low level blues, but nothing past that.
Right. So there's that. And then there was one other thing that I was kind of glossing over that was different from, I feel like, when I played these games before. You sent me a bunch of shift keys.
Yeah.
And this is after the fact. This is today actually. And I kind of looked at those and was like, I don't know.
I sent them to you today.
Have you used any of those shift keys?
Not in game. I found the thing because I was looking for information on trying to remember something from the first game, and because I couldn't remember the weird dude, the rack guy. I couldn't remember Mordecai, and I was trying to figure out what the hell his deal was, and I couldn't remember. That
part is fun. It's fun going through and getting all the old stuff back. Like it's kind of coming back to us. I was like, oh yeah, the racks. I was like, oh yeah, I remember those. Remember Rackman from Borderlands 2?
That's right. I forgot about Rackman.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle thing, and
one of the environments. Yeah, right.
I do not know. Like I hope they've got some more stuff like that, but.
Different writer this time around.
Yeah,
and still has the right tone. But
tone is right. Tone
we'll see
is
how that
correct.
pans out.
Yeah, Sure.
So yeah, I don't even know what the functionality of the shift keys are this time around.
Same thing.
I think you used them for guns last time. Didn't you get some guns out of them?
If you got the keys, you went back to Sanctuary, and there was a golden chest, and you could just, however many you had, you just kept opening it. And it would spit out stuff.
Yeah. I don't know.
I would not I'm not following anybody. I'm not following Pitchford or Gearbox.
Oh, certainly not like last time.
You
remember.
It was just one of those things that there were a number of them there, and I was like, okay, I can take the 3 minutes and copy and paste these and, find out whatever the hell is in the game. Okay, cool, whatever.
Okay, well, maybe I can. I don't know. Again, don't listen to me at all at this point. We'll see how invested I get by next week at the least. I don't know how much we're going to play this week, but
hopefully more.
Okay.
But I don't know. Like I said, I was also pretty tired, but there are a couple things in there that are, we'll see. This is obviously not a final review by any means, not even a final, similar to you, I guess, where this is all, within 5 hours, 4 hours, whatever. So lots of room for this to change, lots of room for stuff to spread out. But the thing that I immediately notice is the dialogue is weaker than any other of the games. Period.
It does seem
it's
like
weaker,
that.
I completely have next to no interest starting. Again, we're only 4 hours in, but the initial meeting of the Calypso twins, that was about as limp as possible. There was nothing there.
Shoot, man, I have no idea who you're talking about.
They're the they're the big bads. It's the girl who's in charge. She's the one who runs everything.
Oh.
And then her brother is the one that enforces stuff. And they're the ones they're the YouTubers or whatever.
They popped up in a hologram form at the end of the first main, or one of the first main missions.
Yep.
Is that okay?
So weak, super, super limp. Incredibly, and I'm using multiple words that can be used for genitalia. That was an incredibly flaccid introduction. That was not a handsome Handsome Jack came on and you were like, okay, I'm kind of this character.
He's a strong personality. Love him or hate him.
The thing was, that character had charisma, and neither of these, they are devoid of it in every respect right off the bat. And, I hope they become better characters and they get more fleshed out, but this is I based on, the minimal amount of time with the story, I don't know that the story is going to be the thing that keeps me playing if I'm going to keep playing. I'll finish the game for sure, but I don't know if the story is not the thing that has legs in Borderlands 2 really either. It's that was definitely you had a good story. It was a solid story.
It was only in as much as the characters made it. Borderlands 2 had the characters.
Sure.
Period.
And right now, between Flack and what is who are you playing?
Those are the actual character classes
Moze.
You're talking about. I chose Moze and you chose Flack. Yeah.
Right. And neither of those characters have done anything in terms of dialogue. It's weak. It's minimal so far.
Seems more flavor than anything. And I don't know. I mean, well, if you think about Borderlands 2, though, how much did the Vault Hunters figure into the story, though, really?
Well,
They're still kind of ciphers.
Well, yeah, but you still, you had those characters Lilith had a lot of conversation with people.
I guess that's true.
And
that's true, actually. Wait, was Lilith in Borderlands 2?
Maybe it was Maya. I'm thinking of
Was
Maya.
it? Okay.
But right. They definitely had conversations, and maybe it wasn't just the most
Sorry, I meant Lilith was in the story of Borderlands 2 and she was not one of the player characters.
Right.
So she did figure
Correct.
more into the narrative. Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I honestly don't remember how much back and forth between them was, but even, barring that, your characters always had you had conversational pieces. There were flavor dialogue, and so far the only flavor dialogue I've heard that I actually have laughed at and thought, oh man, that's really good, is the death animations, like when you kill the psychos. Some of them have had
Right.
really good ones. My favorite one so far was I shotgunned a dude and it blew him backwards, like it shot him off the
The
top of
shotgun physics are pretty good.
they're real fun when the guys jump at you and you shoot them out of the air and they go whoonk. But I totally shot a dude off the top of something and he went flying off, and as he was flying off you could hear him say, I probably deserve that.
Right.
And I just like, that was perfect. That was really
Some of those
funny.
are pretty good. In fact, a lot of them are. I can't remember the two that I laughed at, but
like,
there was more than one.
yeah,
So
yeah. And I mean, I can also go back, and I was talking to Khalif from Spawn on Me about this, and actually Ethos as well, Gaming Ethos. Check him out on YouTube and Twitch. That some of that humor that's like they're going for the crude. It's not that those jokes can't be done well. They certainly can.
Oh yeah, sure.
So far, they have not been done well. And it's not cringy. It's just
you don't really laugh.
it's just flat. It's like there's
flat.
the humor isn't there. It's totally the we're going to make those jokes. And I think that one of the problems here is that number one, it's been so long since Borderlands 2. There's so much turnover that has happened between the two
At Gearbox.
of important people, right?
Yeah.
Like Mikey is gone. Writers are
writer is
gone.
gone.
Like
Yeah.
those are big deals because those people made that game. Like they definitely made it more than the sum of its parts. And I am, I am still, like I said, waiting to see where it goes.
And hopeful.
But yeah, no, I want it to be good. I don't want to be bummed out the whole game. And I'm like, I'm going to try to keep that going. Because the gameplay is pretty much there. I mean, it does feel Borderlands. Like everybody else has said, if you loved Borderlands 2 and you really you're still playing that game, there's a good chance that when this game is patched up, which I'm going to get to the next part here in a moment, you're probably going to like the game. I think it's probably a solid sequel, more so than the pre-sequel.
Well, jeez.
But beyond that stuff, do you have anything else to add to the kind of that stuff, that story related stuff, characters?
The story related stuff, no, I think I'm with you. It's I wonder how much of it is a function of, because when we played Borderlands 2, the humor landed, and I know a lot of people kind of over it by then. I enjoyed it just fine, and we laughed, and I think more often than not it was the characters, and
Sure.
they made that and they were executed on very well, but sometimes themselves also executed very well. But there was always a sense that it was right at the end of is that a zeitgeist? I don't know, like that, right at the end of that humor's shelf life, let's say. Looking back, I can see and I can be like, yeah, that was funny, and I had fun. But it's almost like meme humor. Like that stuff has a short shelf life in many instances.
Sure.
I can look back and be like, we barely made Borderlands 2 in that way. Barely landed it, let's say, or something. This doesn't appear to be really messing with that formula. And I think that's honestly a lot of what we're talking about, is that it is, when we say it's more Borderlands, it is in every way,
absolutely.
They're not really trying to do anything different. And I think that's, again, this goes back to the conversation we had more than once. I think that's fine. We said that we would be fine with just more Borderlands because it's been long enough anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that could be true, but it's also, it could have been more. And that's something that gets you kind of just in the back of your mind the whole time. Like, this could have been something more still.
And I feel like that's coming down to that writing and those characters. And again, there's a lot of game left. So we've got lots of stuff, but...
And you're right. The game is solid. Like, it feels like Borderlands has ever felt. The graphics are actually really good. That look is there, and it's probably better than it's ever been.
Yeah,
I'm playing on my 1X, and it's we both went with resolution mode, I guess, whatever that means. I guess it has something to do with resolution. And the skill trees appear to be cool the way they're working out. You know, they fill up and we're filling things up. I'm getting used to how it was. Like you can put more than 1 point into a thing before it moves on.
Super
you can build
weird.
it out that way.
Super weird to get used to.
There's
that.
no, are you sure you want to do this before you spec it? You hit the button and that point is gone.
Which is annoying.
There is a respec. I know I've seen it on a menu somewhere, but I haven't looked into it, and it probably costs money or something.
Oh, it definitely costs money.
Yeah.
Of course it does. And the further along you go, the more points you have, the more it costs, if I remember correctly.
But that's all good. Like that stuff's
that's fine.
Satisfactory. You will enjoy, and we have, and will continue to enjoy. I feel like you're moving on to performance stuff, though.
Well, and I got one more thing about that before I move on, which
Okay.
actually, because it was kind of
Don't move
caused
on.
by what you were saying. But I think that one other thing that needs to be said, but also shouldn't be discarded, is that Gearbox hit on kind of a lightning in a bottle thing. Like Borderlands was a good game. I think people really liked it. It was good enough to get them a sequel. Wasn't the best game in the world.
Save the company.
Yeah.
Like if the first Borderlands hadn't hit, we wouldn't be talking about any of this right now.
Yeah,
Obviously, they
Gearbox
wouldn't have made sequels, but
Gearbox may not even be as
Gearbox probably would not be here. Yeah.
Right. Gearbox or Borderlands 2 though was that lightning in a bottle thing where they had the look, they had kind of the feel for it, and now they could dig into it. And the thing that they did right and well was all the writing. Like that was all so good. You have to kind of temper expectations and realize that the odds of you getting, even if it's the same writer, to hit multiple games in a row and have that hit every time, or even the majority of the time, is a slim to none battle. And you know, like a great example, if you go into movies, for a lot of people would be, you've got Batman Begins, which was a pretty good movie. It sets things up. A lot of people think The Dark Knight, perfectly well written, paced, and everything is great. And then The Dark Knight Rises kind of drops the ball in a lot of places for people. And it's the same thing. You have the same couple people writing the movies. You're gonna drop the ball some places. It's probably gonna happen, especially when you're dealing with the same thing. You know, and while the characters here are different, they're not. You know, yeah, their styles might be different. They might have another kind of like a different kind of ult than we've played with before. But they're no different than the other characters from any of the other games. They're just not written as well. And
you're talking about the player characters, or I'm
talking about the whole thing right now.
Okay.
Because and especially I think for me, because I was so just like, really, when the Calypso showed up.
Man, what was I doing? I don't remember anything. I don't remember a word they said.
You were running around and you were checking out, you were grabbing loot and stuff. And I was like,
that sounds believable.
No, and I mentioned it. I was like, oh, hey, here's the Calypso people talking about stuff. And I was just like, this is nothing to me. It's fine.
I was also trying to mainline it a little bit. That might be the fourth or fifth thing that I'm doing differently from the others. Because before, I will do every side mission in sight before a main mission, and I am leaning towards the main missions pretty heavily in this thing, which isn't a bad way to play the game. Maybe it'll be fun to see how the other half lives, but you know, also I've been reading that, so a couple things we've been noticing also as we go through, challenges keep checking off, and it's like hold down the menu button to go into the challenge menu, like it has that little pop-up, and you do that and it goes nowhere. So there are challenges that aren't surfaced in the game yet because it hasn't given you the tutorial or whatever it is.
Or it's just bugged out. I mean, that's also... Which again,
true, okay.
We'll get to the performance stuff here when you're...
And then the other thing is that the weapon slots, and if I remember correctly, Borderlands 2 held the weapon slots behind like this purple ore that you had to get and take to the guy that you only saw his eyes through the peepholes in Sanctuary.
I forgot about that dude. That guy was great.
Eddie... Can't remember his name.
Ed and Eddie. That's right.
But I don't know what does it this time. I've been picking up purple currency of some sort. I'm guessing that might be it, but also there's no Sanctuary, nowhere to buy it. From what I've heard, those things don't open up for a little bit anyways, which is kind of annoying, really. But so the game appears to give you some of these things slowly. So I'm interested in mainlining it also probably for that reason also.
Sure.
But I'm sorry, I interrupted you. I think probably.
You did not interrupt me even a little bit.
Oh, my mistake.
Yeah, when it comes to the missions, I don't care. I'll follow you. Whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter to me.
Well, and not that I'll go back, won't go back and do the side stuff. I'm just kind of, what if we main this, get everything we need, and then just roll through the side stuff?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean,
I don't know.
They're that should be fine. I'm sure. I'm willing to bet there'll be one or two missions that if you go too far, you just can't ever do them again and whatever.
Oh, you think? I wonder.
I'm pretty sure that happened in Borderlands 2, that there was one or two missions, like side missions, that if you did a thing, you couldn't go back because either
this is not the game for that.
That person was dead, or
that's like an
something.
RPG thing with like branching story paths and stuff like that.
I agree, and maybe I'm misremembering, but I feel like there's one or two.
It's true.
But
I guess I shouldn't be getting mad at something we don't know if is true before and or will be.
That's right. Okay, so moving on to the performance issues, there are quite a few, I think.
Okay. Did you have some? I didn't have any, actually.
A bunch of hitches in multiple spots where...
Oh, you know what? That's true. And there was some warping, actually.
Yeah, some warping,
some
the
lagging.
multiple hitches, and holy crap, how did they screw up the menus? Like, the menus are so ridiculously slow and not responsive at all.
I feel like there could be a little optimization there.
I clicked the right bumper to flip through something, and it sat for like a full 2-3 seconds.
And especially the skill trees. Those take a bit to load in.
Which is, again, the dumbest thing. It's like, to me, I'm almost at a point where I feel like they borked this up by having the stupid echo thing in front of you, because it's got all the different animations and stuff. Cool, you're in the world.
And there's a big 3D character model when you bring up the skill tree.
Make it work right. I don't care about the extras if it plays like garbage. And those menu systems, like, it does make it difficult, like going through your guns. Number one, they don't sort. They've only got like 3 options for sorting. They're not. You can't sort by strength.
Trash.
You can't sort by
favorite,
rarity. You can't. I don't think you can sort by favorites.
Nothing. Oh, sorting even. Yeah, I haven't even looked at that.
Yeah, there's, again, the menus are just so poorly optimized that it's like they didn't optimize them. And again, it's the same thing with the amount of people on screen and the explosions and stuff that they're doing. Figure it out. Because changing it to performance is supposedly supposed to fix that and keep everything at a solid 30 FPS. Yeah, I've followed enough things to know that that's not true. It doesn't do it. And that while it may hold some of it, it still hitches left and right. So they need to fix that. And that'd
be nice.
That's going to be that's a big patch too. I'm sure that they're going to end up with we're going to end up with a 2 or 4 gig patch that quote unquote fixes optimization.
I'm sure they're working on it. And
I'm not sure of anything with that company anymore.
No, they are. They are a fans company, regardless of how they treat their fans sometimes and or some of their fans. Cause I feel like very much with kind of Gears of War, we haven't played Gears 5 this week, so don't stay tuned. But this game is made more for the fans than anything else, I think, really. Which it has a lot of fans, and that's fine. And, if things aren't for you, they aren't for you. There's no reason to really get mad or...
Right, let it go.
Whatever. But it does affect our experience.
I can't make a decision, and I can't say this game is going to be the game I want it to be, or this game is going to, because I don't know what they're going to do. That's the ultimate reality, right? This is a game for fans, but on every single level, look at their last, 4 games. They didn't do fantastic for them. I'm sure they did well enough, but Gearbox now has so much, in my opinion, they've got so much baggage hanging over them that I don't know if this was quote unquote a fan game so much as it was, this is an easy win.
I think that's exactly what I mean though. By giving us quote unquote just more Borderlands, they're kind of like, well, the fans will be happy with this no matter what. Like the people that are still playing Borderlands 2 right now are playing this and probably just fine with it. Or
they're going, this is not what I'm just going back to Borderlands 2.
Well, that would be.
Which again wouldn't surprise me to see people like go back, because Borderlands 2 has more going for it right now.
I think it'll be more telling if they go back to Borderlands 2 after they finish this thing.
Sure.
Right?
Well, that's what I mean. Is
okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is supposed to have, with all the end game stuff, a more focused path or repeatable. Because a lot of the stuff they did for the end game Borderlands 2 was just add-on stuff. Like the Moxie. Although I guess Moxie had the arena for Borderlands 1, didn't she? I think that was one of the DLCs for that.
Yeah, I think she did too.
But they had the ranking and the true something rather. I don't know. I didn't take part in a ton of that. But they also had like a bunch, DLCs, and they did a bunch of little DLCs for some reason. Whatever. Borderlands 3. We'll see.
More to come on that one.
More to come. Do you want to talk about anything else? Any other games you got in your pocket?
Oh, you know what? Okay, this is just really stupid, but I do think this is like one of those like
Dr. Mario?
It's a ridiculous game that I actually have fun with, and I've been playing it now for
ridiculous fishing.
I don't know, like 4 weeks or something, like on and off. It's
Call of Duty,
a mobile game called Dragon Merge.
Oh boy,
not dragon, like the creature, but drag and merge.
I did go the opposite way on that. Thank you for
once again. I'm here for you. You're the.
I feel like they should have gone the opposite way on that too. Like named it Dragon, even if the gameplay is going to be mostly about dragon.
Yeah. So this is a really dumb game. It's similar to other games you've played. It's kind of like reverse Tetris, where so you've got numbers and you've got blocks, and you have to drag the numbers to match each other.
How are you spelling this? Because even just searching for Dragon, Draggin, brings up all the games that are Dragon, the animal.
It's DRAG, I think, apostrophe N. Let me look.
Apostrophe. Dragon Boom?
Drag and merge. Yeah, it's drag space
merge.
N space merge. So you have.
This is a search nightmare.
Yeah, and I found it through another game, which is
better
even
be
funnier.
good.
It's definitely not worth any amount of the time you're putting in right now. But yeah, so you've got blocks that have numbers on them, different numbers. You have to drag, like if it's the number 1, you drag the 1 to the 1, and then it makes it 2. And so now you have to drag the 2 to a 2, and you're trying to get. The idea is to get all the way up to 20, but as you're going, and the more blocks you move, and you add together, the faster the field fills up, and so it fills up like kind of like Tetris, except the numbers aren't dropping down. There's nothing dropping. It's just they're there, and they slowly build up and higher and higher and higher. And
this is like a cross between Tetris and Threes.
Yes.
Did you ever play Threes?
That is exactly what it is. And it's one of those stupid things that sitting there, easily being able to just kind of play it for, like I don't end up playing it for more than a couple minutes at a time because I just can't get that far with it. But like I think 14 is my highest now.
This is your latest, and we coined this term. This is your latest toilet game, isn't it?
It is a toilet game, for sure. I actually been playing it in other places. So like I had to go sit. Whoa. Well, this is kind of like a toilet because I had. I
assume you still go to the bathroom.
I had to go sit at the pharmacy to wait for medication, which is basically like the bathroom.
Okay. As long as you begin playing, you evacuate.
Oh yourself. Yeah, no, of course. I mean, at least I drop some air biscuits around me. It's pretty novel though. Like, again, it's just one of those simple, quick games to sit down and you could be watching some garbage thing on TV, or it goes to a commercial. Okay, I could rock this real fast. So.
Sorry, been playing Dr. Mario. I'll put this on the list though.
I did download it.
Well, now I don't know if you've got your Dragon Merge, if I should even recommend you open that thing.
Dr. Mario. Oh no, I played it. I played it actually.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You said you downloaded it.
Well, I also did that too. I did both.
Good.
Yeah, I still have it on my phone. I haven't played it. I only played it the one time.
So it hasn't got you yet.
No, and it probably won't, honestly.
No, probably won't. Okay.
Definitely more of that's a Ryan game.
I'm still playing that.
That's
3 stars on everything. So when you 3-star everything in a world, it unlocks a special level that you don't need to get stars on, but they're very difficult. So just passing them is enough. And I've done that on everything. 3-starred everything, past all special stages except for 1. So.
Oh, man. You know what else? This is totally unrelated. And I fully admit that I'm using some of the cheat action by using the save state thing.
Sounds good to me.
But I've gotten the farthest I've ever gotten on Ninja Gaiden on Nintendo. I've
on
never
the Switch.
Yeah, I'm on the 3rd level, which sounds dumb, but I've never gotten that far. Maybe it's the 4th level. Never gotten that far.
That could be like the last level, as far as I know.
It's very possible. That and what was the other one? I was playing something else. I'm pretty far in Kid Icarus at this point.
Now, are these you're using? You said you're using some of the. What is it? It's got like a special badge on it or something. I forget what they call it.
Those are the special editions where it just takes.
But then that starts you pretty close to the end, and you can. You're playing those, or this is from the beginning? Oh,
no. I'm playing the original, like the regular version, but I'm using the save state thing so that I can just kind of I got to walk away.
Dude,
I'm going to save myself right here.
No, you literally have to. I never would have beat those games if it wasn't for that.
Probably, yeah. I mean, the nice thing about those is that you play it, you turn it off, you load it back up, and you just start right where you were, and that's terrific. Like, I can't put in the time to sit down for like 9 hours to try and beat Kid Icarus. And I totally remember when I was a kid playing games like that and just pausing it and then turning off the TV. And I would get so pissed when my mom would turn off the Nintendo. I was like, I had a game and you just ruined all of it.
You ruined my life.
Yeah, and then I would throw my Nintendo at her. Like, I can't tell you how many controllers I broke trying to hit my mom in the head. Like, I just swang them around and tried to lasso her in the face.
The Nintendo cowboy, they called you.
That's right. The NES cowboy.
The Nintendo kid, which wasn't distinctive at all. There were tons of them on the block.
I was just ostensibly the small version of Wild Gunman. Basically, I'm a baby.
The game without lassos.
I'm a baby's toy because you gotta use your hands, Elijah Wood.
I'm sorry, you're a gay baby toy?
That's right. I'm a baby toy.
I have to play that back. I probably misheard what you were.
You can play it back. You'll have the tape.
Yeah, that's cool. I've always wanted to dip into that stuff, especially to find out if it's multiplayer, like we were going to do that one time.
Yeah, which I do believe it might be, actually.
Sure. That's what we do. We believe that they might be.
Because there are a number of games that offer the 2-player thing. So, I don't know. Let's look at that. Let's play some Super Dodgeball.
All right. Did that actually get taken off? Is that still there?
I think it's still there.
That's coming up later. We'll talk about that. I don't think it is there, but that being a Super Nintendo game.
That wasn't Super Nintendo.
Super Dodgeball was not Super Nintendo?
Correct.
That's how ahead of its time it was.
That's correct.
Okay. So I already talked about Dr. Mario and I wasn't even going to. I said I'd mention a few things on the end game of Wolfenstein Youngblood.
Yes.
And last we played that together was the final battle with that boss. Did we mention how much of a pain that was? That was kind of rough.
Yeah. That was. We mentioned it, I think. Yeah.
It finally was a mission that didn't checkpoint at the very beginning
we definitely mentioned this.
Very beginning of the entire thing. Yeah. So we only had to do half of that boss fight again. Still an issue because the thing that they had flying around the outskirts, the big plane, didn't show up on your radar. Didn't tell you.
That was so stupid.
Yeah, remember that now?
Ugh.
That was very annoying. But we got through it. There was one more mission that popped up after that just said the name of the mission is End the Game, and it was the little modifier was Help the People of Paris or something like that. And you're like, okay, I don't have time now, but we'll do that. So I had been saving that, did all the side stuff.
I forgot that was there, honestly.
Well, it turns out it didn't matter because I finally selected it and it's not a mission. It's just a constant that's there. Like that's the end game, which I don't even know why you can select it. It's just always there as a mission. Be in the end game, essentially, is what it is.
That's dumb.
And yeah, so it's a weird proposition for that thing being a budget title, and there were kind of a lot of side missions, but none of those are replayable. The only things replayable are the main missions, and there's only 6 of those. So why the end game appears to be kind of doing this, it's not fully a Destiny thing, but why it appears to want to be something like that, I think is a kind of dubious proposition because that goes against what I feel like that thing is as a budget title.
Yeah.
You know, like that's not something that's going to live up to repeated planes. Oh, it gets amazingly repetitive, right? And I haven't grinded out all the guns. Like there's still stuff left to do in that thing. So unless you're like so up on the gameplay, which I don't know why you would be, as competent as it is. Like, all the story stuff is gone. All of that, like, even when you replay the missions, there's no cutscenes, so you don't get to see the cutscenes again. Although there's probably somewhere where you can go in and load those. So it's just a really weird proposition once you get into the end game with that thing.
Yeah, that sounds odd.
Which I would imagine that game has, speaking of end game, that game has ended for you, I would essentially guess.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to play again, I'm happy to help out. That's fine.
No, now we got Borderlands, but really I don't see why you would dip back into it unless you wanted to.
Because I'm not getting the achievements or anything. So
also
like I
that
said,
too. Yes.
if you want to, if you need help or you want just to, yeah, I'm happy to jump in.
Never, ever.
I don't see a need for me to, like, that's not a game that suddenly I go, man, I had so much fun playing that, I'm gonna buy it for myself, you know.
Do you have feelings about buying and playing it for yourself, the game Control?
I do. I would like to do that at some point, but now there's Borderlands and Gears of War, and I have like 50 other games that I need to finish probably before I even touch that game. Okay,
I'm still only a few hours into it, and it has kind of fallen by the wayside in favor of other things. So I'm trying to think what I could tell you.
Is it good? That's what I want to know.
I did mention that last week. It's really good. I've heard Remedy's best game being thrown around a little bit.
That's big. That's a big
I'm not that far along, but maybe if you weren't so much into the Stephen King of Alan Wake or whatever you consider that to, because obviously Remedy's games deal much in, I don't know if milieu is the right word, but they're same and completely different, right? Quantum Break was this sci-fi thing. Alan Wake was this, again, complete Stephen King horror writer thing. And Max Payne was this hard-boiled graphic novel thing. Like, they are complete different genres in a way, even though the gameplay is incredibly recognizable as a Remedy joint.
Yeah, well, and the look, too, to a point.
Sure, yeah. And they're all third-person action games, stuff like that. And Control is very reminiscent of Quantum Break, like, especially since they are both sci-fi things. But
cool.
What you go to a Remedy game for is authorship. Absolutely. I feel like. And
100%.
It's incredibly apparent that this thing is a Remedy game from the get. And the story is kind of this perfect marriage between an Alan Wake and a Quantum Break. Like, it's cool. Sci-fi, but it's very creepy and there's horror elements. But the lore is intensely fascinating. Like, the stuff they've come up with. I don't know how much you've looked up.
I actually do not know anything about the game. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the powers or the characters, like, I think I've seen things, like, I feel like things could be telekinetic. You can move stuff around like that.
You are correct.
I know nothing about the game, though. Like, that's
so I can tell you some things. I'll tell you this because it'll probably help you in beginning the game too.
I don't even know what the plot of the game is. Like, I have no idea what it's about. Well, you shouldn't.
I've spoken to people, I think, that have finished this and still don't know what the plot was.
Oh, well.
And not in a bad way. But this thing, I mean, much like Alan Wake, actually. I would guarantee, in fact, I might have been one of these people that didn't understand fully the ending of that game. I mean, You understand that you're fighting a boss and that, actually, I don't remember if this was the DLC, but did Barry have a bunch of Christmas lights on? Was that?
Oh man, I don't remember if that was American Nightmare or not. It was not. No,
it definitely wasn't American Nightmare.
It was not
I just can't
American
remember
Nightmare.
If it was one of the DLCs.
The Signal was the other one.
Signal and The Writer, which I really loved the DLCs for Alan Wake as well.
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, the premise here is that, and it really throws you into it, which is why I don't feel like I'm spoiling anything here because this is within the first few minutes of the game. You enter this building called the Old House, or the Oldest House, and it functions as the corporate offices of the Federal Bureau of Control, kind of an FBI equivalent, but that is, dealing with the paranormal instances of this house, which rearranges itself at random times, imbues certain items with power. Or I think that's actually their name too. Items power. Again, I need to go back into it. I also haven't played it for a week, but I had some lingering notes on it. So even just that premise on its own about this house, and it's you are thrown into it, and you walk into the director's building, and basically you're immediately made the director of the Federal Bureau of Control. So You have as much information as I do at this point. So you're.
I should be immediately made directors of different bureaus.
But then you're given some powers, and yeah, it seems to be the best playing Remedy game for sure. And I would not be surprised in the least if it shakes out to be also the best in every other aspect.
Nice.
It's pretty darn fun. And again, I'm only, what would I be? Maybe 5 hours into the thing.
Well,
so Control.
Just great.
Sometimes the universe gives you a present. Sometimes it's Star Wars Battlefront 2. Actually, that's not true. It's never been Star Wars Battlefront 2. Sometimes your parents give you a present and it's Star Wars Battlefront 2, which my parents didn't do. But I would imagine some kids got this for Christmas back in the day.
Yeah.
What happened to Star Wars Battlefront 2 is that they made a bunch of achievements for it, some of which could be attained and some of which could not be unless you arranged it with strangers on the internet, which is what I did.
Of course.
And did get a few of them out of the way. Normally with a game, what I'll do is what I used to do, who knows if I'll ever do this again.
You will.
Time allowing. Is play through it on my own, do what I can. And even because Battlefront 2, being a largely multiplayer game, has lots of multiplayer achievements, I'll go through and see, how much of a pain in the butt they are, if they're well designed, meaning that you're not in a multiplayer game trying to do something that everybody else is angry at you for doing because you want an achievement. Which is, again, while you meet up with strangers to not make each other angry.
Looking at you, Gears of War games.
So I had done that with this mode, Heroes versus Villains, because the way the gameplay worked was that if you were marked, it's kind of like Guardian in Gears, actually. You would then try and kill people while marked, and then you would get points. And if you got 50 points, you would unlock an achievement. But you were rarely ever marked, and when you were, you didn't really go out to get kills because people were protecting you, because that's how you win the game. This achievement literally went against winning strategy. So it was a bummer. And I pretty much wrote it off. I had the game on my shelf because the only two achievements I have left are that and the one for getting to level 50, which is, and this is saying something, maybe the biggest grind that DICE has ever made. And I went to level 100 in Battlefield 4. So, all right. Actually, no, that's not true. I don't think they did an achievement for level 100. I went to level 99 in Battlefield 4 and deleted the game because I had every other achievement. So I was not even interested in any 100.
That's reasonable.
But this one, it only goes to 50, and it's such a grind that I'm like, no, not at all. Like I'm done. So I put the game in for whatever reason. I'm trying to get some of these games off my shelf because they just stay there until the achievements are gone. Because me. And I found out that achievement had been updated to change the gameplay. Sorry, the gameplay had been changed, so the achievement was updated to just get 50 kills in that mode, period.
Oh, that's doable.
3-4 games later, got the achievement, deleted the game. So sometimes the universe fixes Battlefront 2 a little bit more.
That was an emotional roller coaster.
I figured I'd mention it. Those are all the games I have for this week.
Good.
Would you like to talk about some news items?
I don't know, I guess.
AKA, about this thing. I'm afraid I do need an answer on this. I guess you don't know because I haven't told you yet, but
no, I have not heard about that thing.
Remember how we couldn't figure out if the Discord store was still up and running, and then we checked it out, and I'm like, no, I confirm it is up and running.
Yes,
it's not up and running. They're shutting it down.
Yeah, there it is. I remember this.
So, finger on the pulse here at 0 Hit Points. And lack of use, I guess, is the cited reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the fact that they also had some stuff up there that was, I think, not, I don't think it was the same price as Steam or Epic.
Well, they went with the weird model, and I don't even fully understand it, but I think subscription fit into it somehow.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, I mean, I know there were games you could just buy outright. Again, last year, The Nightmare, which I looked up today, and that's a weird game, man. That game I am so fascinated by, where it's not on Steam, so you can't get any friends stats for it.
Stats, okay.
But it's this weird thing where like the subreddit for it is basically shut down. Nobody, like the devs don't respond there. The devs are only in Discord, and they keep saying things are coming, but I don't know how. When it doesn't look like they're selling a ton of the game, and then on top of that, the game had been out for 6-8 months, and people were, and the devs kept saying there were about 5,000 people playing at any given time, and people were sitting in queues forever. And still sitting in queues forever, like the game has no population.
But it registers as a stat, so that's how they're boosting their numbers. Just keep the queue going, man.
Yeah, exactly. Just let it sit, dude.
Look at all the people playing this. So I don't know. Maybe reading the article on this thing, it's the Nitro Games Library or game service has been the monthly subscription aspect of this thing is getting shut down. So maybe that's how that game is transitioning or something.
No, that game is not part of that. That game, I mean, it might have been, but that game was a standalone purchase too.
Gotcha. Anyway, so prescient as always here at 0 Hit Points. Did you want to talk about any of the Apple Arcade stuff?
No,
that came out?
Not particularly. I don't know how. I mean, it's not really relevant to me, and I don't. But I know you're an Apple geek, so.
Well, but I don't think even I will subscribe to this. So
no, I'm definitely not giving.
Yeah.
Here's what I can say about monthly subscriptions when it comes to game things.
Okay.
Right now it's Game Pass. If something else comes up, I'll cancel Game Pass. But I'm not doing multiple subscriptions for one, and number two, I don't know that I'm going to keep Game Pass for much longer either. I'm just not getting use out of it right now.
We barely do multiple subscriptions for video, and I feel like that's, a little more accepted or normal. Yeah, for games, come on. Especially since I can apparently buy one game and play it for 5 years now. So
right. And yeah, I mean, video is a whole nother, it's a whole nother thing, but I think I'm going to be canceling a couple of those things too, because it's just not.
It's too much. It's too much. Well, I guess maybe just the most interesting thing about this are the games coming out anyways. There's a new Frogger called Frogger in Toy Town actually, you know what? The game I mentioned at the Annapurna booth at PAX, Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Yeah.
I guess that's a headliner for this thing, which has also been announced that it's coming to Switch and PS4. So not an exclusive. They're playing pretty fast and loose with that term, it seems.
Everybody does.
So I don't even think exclusives would really bring me to it, but we'll see. And you know what? This is freaking Apple. Like, sure, I'll cop to fanboyism here and there, even though it's waning hard. As far as games go, I don't know if it was ever there. Like, Apple's never done anything to champion the games on their service. Like, especially anything innovative, they've stamped out a lot of the time. So,
well, I mean, and Apple's always been that way. Like there are only a handful of games that were kind of Mac games that people like that actually landed.
Never been the gaming platform.
And the only one that comes to mind is, I think, Marathon. I think that was a Mac game first.
I'd believe it. I think you're right. Yeah, Marathon. I've only played Durandal when that came out on the 360.
Which, if I remember correctly, was either the sequel or a remake of the original. And core dump on the brain.
Like those games, actually. Oh, okay. You don't have anything against them. You just don't remember them.
No, I just don't remember. I liked
Gotcha.
Marathon. Marathon was great. Marathon was, Halo before Halo.
I would love a Marathon remake, actually, like a next-gen version of that stuff, because the story was pretty compelling, too.
Sure. Well, sure. I mean, that goes up there with other games like System Shock, too. I mean, and there's a remake supposedly coming at some point for, I think, the System Shock 2, maybe?
Yeah, there's a trailer for System Shock 3 this week, actually, too. I didn't pull, but it's out there.
I don't believe in it.
Pac-Man Party Royale, Rayman Mini, some of the many games coming to Apple Arcade. Okay, that's fine. What else we got? Did you hear about this thing? Oh, I deleted it. That's okay. I know what it was.
Did you hear about that thing?
I forgot that. Discovery Tour for Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Are they adding it?
They're adding it.
Oh, cool.
I'm buying it.
That makes sense.
I wonder if they wait to release this thing to actually see the stats, because like how much of a bump in sales they see from this thing coming out. I can't imagine I'm in a huge majority here.
No, you are the only person probably.
I'm quite excited about that, actually. I really
That's
like
cool.
Discovery Tour for Odyssey.
Yeah, that's cool. For Odyssey or for
Oh, you're right. For Origins. Thank
There
you.
it
Stay tuned for when is this coming out? Stay tuned for after this comes out, where I'll pull that statement from this show and just paste it in to that.
Perfect. Yeah.
So this is older news at this point, but so weird that I don't think I was going to skip it at all. Nintendo had a direct, I don't know if it's the best direct, because I feel like Nintendo Directs always come out with a bunch of Nintendo games, and you're like, oh, Nintendo, like that's Nintendo, and everything's going according to plan here, with maybe a couple curveballs here and there. This one appeared to be all curveballs. Star Wars Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, and Jedi Academy coming to Switch. I think those are original Xbox games.
Yeah.
Or that
coming
generation at least.
100 years later. Cool.
I never played either of those. Did you?
Yeah. Both of them. Great games.
Oh.
Honestly, when it comes to Star Wars games, for me, most of them have actually been pretty good. I mean, nothing is better than
Shadows of the Empire.
I still think Dark Forces.
Dark Forces. I think one of these is a Dark Forces.
I think they're all related.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Star Wars universe, Ryan.
there's something tying them together. Not tied together to that. The other thing they announced, Doom 64.
I remember going to a huge swap meet with my dad, right? Like probably 6 months after that came out. And we were cruising around, and I found the video game thing, and my dad was always like, yeah, I'm not going to buy you any games. Stop, don't ask. And I found Doom, and it had a red cartridge. And I was like, Dad, it's a red cartridge. This is like Zelda with the gold cartridge. What are we doing here? You know, if we're going to play games, what the hell are we doing here? And apparently my argument at the time was very, very persuasive.
Yeah, nice. So you have this in a box somewhere, you think?
No.
Oh.
No, my mom definitely sold all that crap off along with all my comic books that just still to this day I want to throttle her for.
I never had or played this, but I knew it was what it is.
It's Doom.
It's never been on, I don't want to say, it hasn't been on a Nintendo device since 1997, but I don't know if it's been anywhere else since. Like, this didn't come out on PC at the same time, did it? Right?
No, it's a remake of the original Doom, if I remember correctly.
Oh, really? That's all it is? But for the Nintendo 64?
I mean, it might be. I don't remember it being anything separate.
Well, that just makes this even better. They couldn't just release the original Doom on Switch, which maybe they have already. Actually, they did just do that, didn't they? That was the whole Bethesda login screen nonsense.
Oh, I guess it's a sequel to Doom 2.
Oh, well, there you go. So it's Doom 3. This is the Doom 3 you've always wanted.
I fully admit that that the Doom games, once again, not so much a story thing. They're fun. Don't care.
Really?
I just want to have some of the goofy humor and then kill things. That's like exactly what Doom is for me.
So are you because I'm kind of like tempted. Like, I don't think it'll happen, but I mean, this might be a shorter experience anyways, which is just right up my alley. I don't know, man.
I'm not going to go back and replay it. No.
Okay. Well, maybe you've heard about this thing then. Deadly Premonition 2, also from that direct.
Again, just one of the funniest things ever, and I hope it is as good and bad as the original.
That's pretty accurate. Like that's enough. And then the big one was the Super Nintendo games that are coming to Switch Online at no increased expense.
Yay.
So all of us conspiracy theorists I don't know if I conspiracy theorized it, but I did at one point say I would not be surprised in the least if they were like Super Nintendo for $1 more a month.
Right. No, we talked about that because we talked about them doing tiered things for the various consoles.
Right. But they're not. So
not
kudos,
yet.
I guess, for doing a normal thing amongst all the other stuff they do. The list also pretty darn good. Super Mario World, Super Mario Kart, Legend of Zelda Link to the Past, Super Metroid, Stone Race FX, Kirby's Dream Land, Super Mario 2, sure, why not? Star Fox, F-Zero, Pilot Wings. I'm going to skip some here. Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Super Soccer, Super Tennis. Pretty good list.
Yeah, Super Punch-Out is a good one, big one for me too.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so they are missing one. Good job. You came up with one immediately that could be on this list.
It is on that list. You're missing it. Super Punch-Out is on the list.
Super Puyo Puyo 2? It's not on this list.
It might not be on that list, but I swear I saw that on...
Matt swears. Breaking news. It's Super Punch-Out coming to this pure Super Nintendo thing. That's it for show and all. That's all I had.
Yeah, I am wrong.
What?
It happens. It's gonna happen occasionally.
Breaking news.
Finally wrong one time.
Matt got the thing wrong about the thing, everybody. But that's Zero Hit Points, guys. And we're at zerohitpoints.com. You can contact us at podcast@zerohitpoints.com. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. You can send it to us and we'll accept it.
Okay.
Come back later this week where we do another television volleyball. Am I correct?
Correct. TVVB.
Okay, because we're going to record that right now. And I don't know how to tease that other than to say a little bit of updating. Quite a few new ones.
I got a way to tease that.
I've got a clincher that I don't know if you'll be able to beat.
All right. Well, mine is the boys will be boys.
All right. So get ready for some boy love, everybody, next week. No, wait, that's still this week. Sorry. On Book Club for Movies. That's what that show is. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.